Welcome to my 4-part coaching series, which is meant for interior designers who are looking to level up their business and create a structure that is 100% going to generate successful results. So if that's you, then take out your notebook, save this playlist, and keep on watching. A little intro about myself. My name is Sarah Adnan, the founder and creative director of Elevated Living, and I make a ton of videos on this channel to help you get started on your interior design journey. In part 1, we talked about my 4-step process in ensuring a successful design consultation. In part 2, we're going to talk about how to ensure a successful client-designer relationship. By this time, we're going to assume that your design consultation went really well and the client has actually decided to move forward with you for their project. So these are my 3 golden rules that are going to ensure that your client-designer relationship is perfection from the very beginning and not a chaotic, toxic relationship that often these design projects lead into. Rule number 1, prepare an extremely detailed service agreement that outlines the scope of work of the project, along with an invoice that details the price of your service. If you're still making your service agreements on a Word document, then I would say maybe it's time to migrate to resources such as HoneyBook that allow you to create your service agreements on a more digital format that's a lot more automated and avoids the back and forth of the signatures. And most importantly, it just helps you present yourself in a very professional way. Now, in part 4 of this series, I actually do a deep dive into what a service agreement should entail and the various terms and clauses that you should include to make sure that you are protecting yourself and also making sure that you set expectation and best practices for your clients to follow until the end of the project. Rule number 2, and this is something that I never used to do, but I recently started doing it, and as a result, I've automatically noticed such a positive change in the relationship that I have with my clients. And that is setting up a call with your client and making sure that you go over the service agreement with them. A lot of times designers send the agreement thinking that, oh, the client must have read it, but I guarantee you 9 out of 10 times they don't read anything and they just go to the last page, they sign it and send it back to you. As a business owner, it is your responsibility to educate your client right from the beginning and ensure that they have the opportunity to ask you questions or clarify with you any questions that they might seem as a little bit, shady or iffy in the contract, which it should never be. But as a designer, you're always putting in clauses in to protect yourself. There's a term now in my contract that specifically says hours of operation, because so many times I've been in a situation when clients are messaging me on the weekend, they're texting me and expecting me to reply right away. And I realized that it's only a fault of my own because I never educated the clients from the beginning that, hey, these are my hours of operations. I have a 24-hour, time in which I get back to you. And if I don't, then just be mindful that I am busy working on other projects. So again, you're being very diplomatic and polite about how you run your business and just making sure that you set your boundaries. This extra hour that you will spend with your client is only going to benefit you in the long run. The third rule that's going to make sure that your client respects you and make sure that you get paid on time is to get a site visit booked in both of your calendars. So at the end of that phone call in which you're going through the service agreement line by line item, you want to ask the client, when can we set up the site visit? This way, you're not leaving the phone call without an action item. You're actually making sure that an action item is addressed in that call, which is you guys both pulling up your phones and being like, okay, this is my availability, this is my calendar, setting up that site visit and then working your way towards it. Let's say your site visit is now booked 1 week from the time that you have the phone call. And let's say your client has still not gone back to you with a signed agreement or paid you for the invoice. Then you can very easily just follow up with them, say, hey, just a reminder, our site visit is booked for Saturday. I still haven't received a copy of the agreement. So when you get a chance, please send it over and make sure that you make the payment in full. Otherwise, we'll have to push the site visit out. And most of the time, clients will think that, oh my God, we don't want to push it out. We want to get this done now. And they will definitely be forced or urged to make the payment and sign the agreement. So I always find that that works rather than just leaving the phone call and not doing anything after. So That was it for part 2 of how to ensure a successful client-designer relationship from the beginning. I hope that you found it valuable, and I will see you guys in part 3 of my coaching series, in which I will talk about how to gather a sample inventory for your clients. Bye-bye.